Hello everyone and welcome to another paradigm shift video. Today, as promised in the last few days, we're going to discuss about an altcoin which I think is primed to rally if Bitcoin rallies also, or at least chills at the current levels for a while. I know it's a meme coin, but I think it's already above that status because of its liquidity, because of its holders, etc. And without further ado, this evening we're going to discuss about PEPE. For a while, Pepe last year was rallying, and it had an amazing rally since September all the way to December of more than 345%. However, like Bitcoin and all the other altcoin market, it topped out. It first had a false break above this level. I'm just going to call it 2,300 just for the sake of the argument and to not have a mouthful. But that was a false break to the upside, and as I like to say, a false break to one direction leads to a bigger move to the opposite direction. So that false break fell under 2,300. We got the no acceptance, as you can see here, and we had the confirmed distribution. Some may argue that we even had a head and shoulders, which is a topping pattern regardless. And you will see that a lot of times when the market tops, you have a confluence or a multiple of patterns or indicators that confirm that topping, as well also to the downside when we have accumulation. And we're going to discuss that in a bit. So this was a head and shoulders. We had the distribution, and the distribution was confirmed once we dropped under the 1,700 support. From there, we just continued to the downside. It was a clear lower high and lower low. Here we had a redistribution, which meant that previous buyers were selling again, and we dropped another, let's just see, another 40% from there. This was the confirmation that it's a redistribution because we had the break and we had the retest, which was a confirmation that we're going lower, being a bearish retest. From there, however, and since the beginning of March, Pepe started bottoming, and instead of printing, as you can see here, another low in that bearish sequence of lower highs and lower lows, sellers lost interest, they lost steam, they lost juice, and instead of printing a new lower low, we printed the high, and when we came back, we printed the first higher low, because as you can see, this low is higher than this previous low, which meant that we had a change of structure. So from lower highs and lower lows, we moved to higher highs and higher lows. So we had the low, the high, the higher low, the higher high, and another higher low. Basically, a very clean change of character, of change of structure of the market. However, a few days ago, 5 days ago to be more precise, we had this big one-day candle, which coincided obviously with Ethereum, that big candle from Ethereum. Well, I think it was the biggest one since 2021. And Pepe being an Ethereum beta, it outperformed, and we had a break above this intermediate resistance, which was the resistance of the redistribution zone that I just mentioned a few moments ago. This is called, in technical analysis, a runaway breakout. So instead of continuing in an ascending channel of higher highs and higher lows, we started printing something even more bullish because we broke above the previous structure of higher highs and higher lows. We broke above the intermediate resistance, and we continue to the upside. This, for me, it's another confirmation that Pepe is among the strongest altcoins right now in the market, and most likely we will continue to the upside as long as this level, I'm just going to call it 1,120 area, holds. So in case we pull back, I would like to see Pepe holding above this previous break, so above 1,125. So even if we dropped around 20, 21, 22%, I would not like to see a weekly close under this level. If we see a weekly close under this level, most likely this is going to be a false move, and we're going to discuss about that scenario if will happen. However, for now, like I just said, we printed the bottom. It's a clear bottom. We had the higher highs and higher lows, and on top of that, we had this amazing runaway breakup. So as you can see, I know that a lot of you who follow me know that I use only one indicator 99% of the time if I use it, and it's called Ichimoku. But I didn't start with Ichimoku. I started with market structures. I started with price action. But as an extra confirmation, let's just add Ichimoku to see what does it say. And for now, we can see that we have 4 out of 4 bullish elements. And if you might ask, what does it mean to have 4 out of 4 bullish elements? Let's just explain a little bit better. This is what I mean. And you know that because I had an amazing video about Ethereum a few days ago, which confirmed the bottom. So for an uptrend, we have a few elements that confirms the change of structure and confirms a new bullish momentum based on Ichimoku. So we need four elements. The first one would be the price to be above the Kumo, which means cloud in Japanese. And it is, as you can see, this is the Kumo, this is the price. To be above the conversion line and to be above the baseline. First element being checked. The Kumo to be thick and green. Since we just moved from a very big thick and red environment, right, when we were bearish, the Kumo is green, but is not thick. However, this can be checked. The conversion line, Tenkan-sen, to be above the baseline, Kijun-sen, and to be above the Kumo. We have also this checked. And the lagging span to be above the Kumo, the Chiku span, plus far from the price, the better. So for now, as I have been saying, based on market structure and based on price action, we are full bullish on PEPE, and we have also a confirmation from Ichimoku. Let's just see a short-term target. If we look back to what happened in January when we confirmed the distribution, the first big resistance would be around 1,700. And if this will be flipped to support, the next one would be near all-time highs around 2,300. For now, I think pullbacks can be a very good opportunity for buying or for longing, as long as I just said, as we stay above 1,125 area. From here, under this whole move is going to be validated, and we shall see at that point in time. And if you thought that this is over, I have another confirmation for you. Back in March, during one of the AMAs in Paradigm Shift Discord, I have been discussing about this huge pattern on PEPE versus Bitcoin. This is one of the most bullish patterns that I have seen on altcoins, and this is happening all while Ethereum Bitcoin is bleeding for the last few years, right? So since 2023, PEPE has been in an uptrend, continuous uptrend on the weekly chart versus Bitcoin, and we have a clear move and we have a clear structure of higher highs and higher lows. From here, we can see that this was the low, this was the high, this was the higher low, this was the higher high, and I would not count this necessarily as a higher low because in charting and in technical analysis, we can have a higher high after another higher high, right? So this was, like I just said, low, high, higher low, higher high, higher high. And around these levels, you can see this potential path. This was drawn by me back in March, and I didn't want to remove it. And now we had the printing of another higher low on the weekly chart. And let's just see if PEPE is going to continue on this higher high, higher low type of structure, which has been printing since July 2023. The first confirmation that this is happening is PEPE breaking out last week and closing above this area. You can see these multiple lows from here, which held. And when they finally broke back in, let me double check here. Back in January 2025, we stayed there for about 98 days until last week when we broke above this area. So this was a clear higher low. It was very nice that we didn't have a close under this level, so we lose this important uptrend channel. And from there, since last week, like I just said, PEPE is not bullish just against USDT. It's also bullish against Bitcoin. So with all that said about PEPE USDT, from the market structures, from the new change of character from lower highs and lower lows to higher highs and higher lows with the runway breakout, I'm already positioned in PEPE with a very nice trade on margin, and my validation, like I just said, is going to be under this area, so under 1,125, but my targets are much higher as long as Bitcoin continues its trajectory upwards and or stays in the current range. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Pay attention to PEPE going forward, especially with Ethereum also finally breaking out above important levels. And if you enjoy this type of content, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you on the next one.